Hello guys, today I'm going to be doing a video on Sons of the Forest with the Steam Deck. We're going to be starting it off at 800p on the lowest settings. Alright, here we are in the settings menu. Options, display at 800p, graphics, the lowest settings. Menu is a bit laggy with the D-pad, so I gotta use the stick. And there we go. Lowest settings. Alright, let's jump into it and see what we can get. Alright, here we are in the game, sitting pretty much at 24 FPS up to 28 FPS. Not really the best performance, unfortunately. This game is in early access, so I guess it makes sense that it's not the most optimized. So you pretty much need FSR to run this game at a stable frame rate of 30 and above, but unfortunately this game only has FSR 1.0, so you can't really push it too far or the game will look very ugly. Let's go ahead and go. Oh my god, that was a very major stutter right there. Let's go ahead and get inside the jungle again and explore that area a bit more, because again, this area is not as intensive as the inner jungle areas. As you can see, this game is very GPU intensive, pulling around 8 watts of power on the GPU side and 4 to 5 watts of power on the CPU side. But you know what, at least the game looks good on the low settings. It's not too bad. The major issue is the pop-in. That's like very apparent at the low settings, but the actual quality of the graphics look pretty good still. The game's definitely stuttering in this area quite heavily as well. The game does stutter on actual, I guess, desktop PCs, but it's not as apparent or as aggressive as it is on the Steam Deck, which kind of sucks, but I think as it is right now, this isn't really playable without using FSR. So let's go ahead and pause the game and enable FSR and continue on from there. Alright, here we are with FSR 1.0. I got a target FPS of 30 applied, and hopefully it looks good and runs well as well. Alright, here we are in the game. As you can see, the game doesn't really look the best anymore. It looks very soft looking. It looks like an oil painting pretty much. But FPS is pretty much sitting in the low 30s up to the mid 30s, which is pretty fantastic, because we were sitting pretty much in the low 20s up to the mid 20s. The game's actually running pretty well so far, sitting at 30 FPS on average. There's not too many stutters either. Well, as soon as I say that, the game just freezes up. That's fantastic. Really good timing on them. I don't know how I do it every time, but it happens every time for me. I'm jinxing myself pretty much. What do we have over here? Any loot? Some bones. That's great. Let's get some bones, shall we? Amazing. Is there a river here somewhere? I guess there's a lake up ahead. Let's go ahead and go to the left a little bit. FPS is falling down into the high to mid 20s now, which isn't good. VRAM is sitting at 6 gigs. At low settings, we're pulling 6 gigs of VRAM. That is just so aggressive. Yeah, the VRAM usage is quite high for low settings, to be honest. In most games, you can only use up, what, like 2 to 3 gigs? Up to 4 gigs at the low settings. But in this game, already at low settings, it's sitting at 6 gigs. I think with the 3060 Ti, it was sitting at around 7.5 gigs at the ultra settings, so it's not a massive difference between the low settings and the ultra settings, which is kind of surprising. Alright, I'm kind of far away still. Before I get to the river, I need a car. So even with FSR, FPS is still falling down into the high to mid 20s, unfortunately. And the stuttering does get quite bad at times as well still. Which is kind of unfortunate, because this game does look quite good, and I wish it ran better. But I guess this game is in early access, and it's getting updates already, so I'm sure they'll fix it up and make it run better. But still, ideally, I'd rather the game run well off the bat, rather than waiting like weeks for it to get patched. Okay, let's go ahead and increase this FSR setting to 40 FPS and see if that makes a difference. It does, look at that. Sitting now pretty much at the mid 30s. The game looks a bit worse. Yeah, the game definitely does look worse, and even on the Steam Deck screen it does look a bit blurry now as well. So it's definitely ruining the look of the game. But if you want to play this game portably, then this will be the way to go, I think. Alright, almost at the river. This area is quite intensive from what I know, so FPS will fall into the 20s, I was going to guess. It's going to be kind of hard to optimize this game, to be honest, because it's already struggling with the low settings, so I can't really push it up too much higher than this before it starts lagging very heavily. Alright, here we are in the water. Sitting in the mid 20s again. The game is stuttering as well. What's up, cannibals? How are you guys doing? Yeah, be on your way now. Yeah, it's definitely stuttering far more in the water, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm not sure. I would say so far this game isn't really playable on the Steam Deck, but I mean, I guess we'll see in a couple of days if it gets patched or not. Okay, let's go and pause the game, push it up to the medium settings, and continue on from there. Alright, and here we are, the medium settings. There we go with that. It's so laggy with the D-pad. Just gonna use the left stick. There we go. That's the medium settings. And we are sitting at 20 FPS, down into 19 FPS. Wow. The game looks fantastic, man. It looks great, but FPS wise, it is just not there at all. It's so GPU intensive that we're getting 20 FPS only. It's honestly not too bad at 20 FPS. It's not that bad at all, actually. It's not too stuttery or laggy. Stacking feels fine. I mean, come on, 20 FPS isn't really ideal, is it? I think ideally, playing at least 30 FPS would be good. Alright, with FSR now we're sitting at 25 to 26 FPS. Not that bad, I guess. We gained like 5 to 6 FPS from what we had before. It definitely feels far smoother, but still, not the best performance. And as you can see, the phone icon, or the UI on the phone, looks very blurry as well. I can't really read it at all. I know it says like day 1 on the left and the time on the right, but it's not very readable with FSR 1.0. Our VRAM has climbed up to 7 gigs almost, from 6 gigs, which is kind of crazy. And yeah, I don't know if I can do the high settings, to be honest. The game is already struggling at the medium/low settings, so pushing it up to the high settings will just kill this Steam Deck completely. Man, this is rough. And finally, here we are at the high settings, sitting at 14 FPS. So at medium we were sitting at 20, at low we were sitting at 25 to 30, and now we're just sitting at 14. Let's pause the game, let's go to the settings, the graphics. Here we are at the high settings. Cool. Okay, are these blueberries over here? Or just flowers? No, they're just flowers. It's getting kind of late as well. It's like, what, 5 PM? So the sun's going down. Before we head back home to our little camp with Kelvin. Blueberries, let's go! And here we are with FSR, sitting at 21 FPS, which is kind of decent, but still FPS is far too low to be playable. Oh, it's getting really dark now. Oh my god. That was very buggy there. Very stuttery. So yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and optimize the game, or try to optimize the game, and come back when that's done. And here we are with the optimized settings. Playing the game at 800 by 500, as you can see right here, with system-wide FSR, and the built-in FSR as well, at a mix of medium to low settings. Alright, here we go in the settings menu. So we have FSR enabled right here in the settings menu, and then on the side menu, I have FSR enabled as well, down here. There we go. And I got a TDP of 11 watts as well. This is for portable play. If you're gonna be plugged in all the time, then go ahead and turn this off. But again, for portable play, have 11 watts of TDP. Alright, now before we go, if you're watching this on a TV or a PC monitor, the game will look pretty poor. But on the Steam Deck's actual screen, it does look very nice still. So it's definitely viable as a choice. And FPS wise, we should be sitting pretty much at 30 FPS the whole time. If you do uncap the FPS, you can go as high as 35 to 40. But I think for portable play, a stable 30 FPS is the way to go. And for battery life, we're going to be getting around 2 hours of gameplay time, which is pretty decent. It's not too bad, but this will depend on where you are and what you're doing. So yeah, overall, the game does run decently well at this point. It gets 30 FPS most of the time, but you will have some FPS dips into the high 20s, and the game will still have some stuttering issues as well, depending on where you are. Alright, and finally for the SD card testing, the game runs about the same as the SSD, as you would expect, but the main problem is the load times. It took forever on the SD card. It took a couple of minutes, I think. It was pretty awful. So in my opinion, if you want to still play this game, then go ahead and play it on the SSD versus the SD card. It's just not worth it. It takes forever to load, and it kind of ruins the experience. Alright, I think that's about it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for more Sons of the Forest.